How do you differentiate a no versus Satan trying to get you to shelter in and not do what God's called you to do?
Yeah, I think this is an area I'm still growing in, right? I want to be fully transparent, right? I think it's an area I'm still growing in, and I think I've made a lot of mistakes in this area because I've been a local pastor for 13 years, but it's only in the last 2 years I've been itinerant in ministry, like traveling, speaking, things like that. And a lot of doors are opening to me right now.
Yeah.
More doors than I could keep up with.
Well, you were itinerant before, just people weren't inviting you.
Right, they wasn't inviting
same
me.
Thing,
Right,
same thing.
my itinerant ministry was in the street, literally.
Yeah.
Right, nobody was
Same
inviting
thing.
me. But the doors that open to me now is more than I can imagine. Right, let's just not be honest. Right, and I think we got to know the difference between a God door and a good door. Right, when we have to choose between an evil door and a good door, that's an easy decision. Yeah. The harder decision is between two doors that look good. Yeah. And knowing like this is a God door, this is not a door. So I think for me in the beginning of traveling, I went a lot of places. I don't know if every place I went I was supposed to go. I didn't know. The doors open, I went. Yeah. Right. And now, I travel so much. I walk out the door so much. I leave my family so much. Yeah. Right. I've seen them cry. Right. I've seen them shed tears, me leaving. I've seen it had an effect on my family. So for me now and for you, I want to walk through the doors that the Holy Spirit wants me to walk through. Yeah. Right. I want to say yes to the things I need to say yes to. And I think for you, I'm going to tell you, because it's very important for your generation, we have to learn the value of no. No is a very powerful word. Yeah. Right. When we don't use no, we become a slave to opportunities. Right. We think we have to do everything, and then we develop a Jesus complex in which we think we are the end all to fixing the whole culture. Yeah. And we got to be careful with that. We got to know. Bryce has to know, Philip has to know, what is Bryce's assignment, what is Philip's assignment like. You remember when the Lord went down to the pool of Bethesda? Yeah. I've been to the pool of Bethesda. Wow. Right? And if you read the text very carefully, he's there during a feast. So that means Jerusalem would have swole in numbers. Yeah. Normally there'll be a handful of people hanging around that pool, but if we read the text right and we understand culture, it might have been a couple hundred people around that pool because it's happening during a feast. Yeah. How many people did he heal that day? How many? One man who had been there 38 years. Right? So now this is the way I study. I'm a pictorial person, so I'm putting myself in the text. So if you and I put ourselves in text, that means Jesus went down to that pool and he had to step over people to get to that one man. He had to walk past people to get to that one man. Excuse me. Okay, pardon me. Pardon me. He had to get around all those people to get to that one man. Yeah. He heals how many people? That one man. Now, could he have healed more? Maybe. We don't know. The gospel writer didn't give it to us. But what the gospel writer did give is a pool full of sick people, and Jesus heals one man. His assignment that day was that one man, right? We got to have the same discipline to know what is our assignment and what is not. Every cry is not my assignment. Every open door is not my assignment. We have to have enough discipline in our own soul to not be so platform driven, to think that every door that opens, I need to be on that platform, right? So we got to have for example, I don't know if I should say this on the podcast. Gosh, man. Okay. The current administration sent me an invite to be a part of the National Day of Prayer. That's coming this year. Yeah. Right? There's a National Day of Prayer coming this year, in the middle of the year. They sent me an invite to be a part of that day. All right. If I was platform driven, I would have immediately, as soon as the invite came, first day, I would have responded like, how could you say no? Yeah. I'm from Queens. Yeah. Right? I'm a dude from Queens with no real seminary education. The White House calls. You go. Yeah. Right? But that's not what I did. I took that invite and I took it to our prayer team. I took it to our staff. I took it to my executive pastor who's here. And I put it before them. What do y'all think about this? would y'all join me in prayer about whether or not I should go? Because I know if I go, it's going to come at a price, right? It's going to come at a cost, social persecution, right? And this would be like the highest invite in the land, right? In my flesh, I would just say, go, right? Who thinks twice? But because I have been so much, right? And because I've made mistakes, I had to remind myself, you listening, Bryce? I'm only a steward of my ministry, right? I will give an account for all of it, right? So now when invitations come, I have to pray over them. I take it to the prayer team, pray, right? If it's God's will, I go. If it's not his will, I can't go. And you and I have read this in the scriptures when Paul was busy going. And then one night he has a dream. God says, no, don't go over there. Go over here. And he sees the man standing on Macedonia. Watch this. Come over here and preach to us. Paul wakes up from that dream. Watch. He heads west towards Macedonia, right? He preaches in Macedonia, in that area. Eventually, he'll plant a church in that area of the world. That church he planted was Philippi, the first church planted on the European continent. For that letter that he writes to the Philippians from prison, he's writing that letter to the first church planted on the European continent. And maybe that one church helped in Christianity to spread west. We will never know, but we can lean on the text just a little bit, right? What if the Lord don't send him west? What if he goes the opposite direction? We don't know, right? Would you and I be sitting here today in a world where Christianity is welcomed in the West? We don't know. So the point I'm trying to make to say all of that is we have to know our assignments. You have to know yours. I got to know mine. And ours is to not run through every single door. Ours is to run through the doors that God intends for us to run through, as we become a slave to opportunities. Pray for me too, Bryce, that God will help me make a decision, the right decision about whether or not I need to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, that made me feel a lot more human too, because sometimes I know exactly what you mean. I've been in places where I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here right now. Like, I know I'm sitting there and I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be here. And so thank you for saying that. Because sometimes I don't know about you, it make you feel a little crazy. Oh, should I backtrack? I'm sorry. Like, get in that position. But you mentioned your family, and that was the advice I wanted to ask you. Was I'm so encouraged by you and your wife. Like, every time I see a sprinkle or a glimpse on social media, I'm like, man, they love each other, and I love it. But you also mentioned it, and I think this has been the hardest thing. Like, it costs. Like, you have to count the cost when you leave. You have to count the cost. Like, we're on our tour right now, and Maddie and I prayed, and we knew that we were counting the cost. But like, I've been away for almost a little under 2 weeks, and that was hard, and it was challenging, and Satan was coming our way with many different things, and having a different time zones and talk and figure it out, and being away and long days and late nights. And now we got to see each other this morning, and it was beautiful.
Is she here?
She's on her way.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
dope.
We went to church this morning. But I think that how do you guys count the cost in marriage? Like, how do you guys do ministry and marriage? How do you make time for your family and at the same time walk out what God's called you to do?
Everything you say yes to, something else is going to suffer, right? So I think the longer you're married and do ministry, your yes has got to be more calculated, right? The first 7 years of my marriage was bad. It was very tough. A lot of fights, threatening each other with divorce, all the things, right? Our first 7 years was not good. It was bad. I would take the blame for most of it. 95% of it, I was very selfish, immature. And so I almost lost my wife, right? I think having her right now, I really have a second chance. She being with me, I feel like is a second chance. My ministry is a second chance. Been married now over 21 years, right? So you 2 months in, I'm 2 decades in, right? Wow. I think the beauty of my wife, Lena, I love her because Lena's one of the most godliest, virtuous, wise, humble women I've ever known. Right? She's changed my life. And she is a ride or die, right? She understands the bigger picture. and she understands where our rewards are going to be, right? And so for her, she did something that was very liberating for me, and I pray your wife would do this for you, right? Lena would say to me, when I have to leave to go do stuff, she would say, go do what you got to do, man of God. I'll be here when you get back home. You go out there, preach God's word, and I'm going to hold down this front. Essentially, we're both doing ministry because I have children. I'm out there preaching. She's at home discipling our kids, right? And she allowed me the freedom to go do God's word. She never made me choose between her and God. She never boxed me into a corner like that. She would always tell me, do you feel like God has called you to do this? Yes, go do it. I'll be here when you get back, right? She's never put pressure on me for money. She's never put pressure on me in terms of what home we live in, what we drive. She's never put pressure on me in terms of what she wears. She's never put pressure on me in terms of like the scope of our ministry, the size. She's never ever put that pressure on me. The only thing my wife wants from me is just in terms of God, my ministry, she wants me to be faithful. She wants to know that I'm hearing from God. If I'm not hearing from God, she and I have a problem. She's gonna come confront me, right? She wants to know. So if I tell her I feel like God is saying, she'd be like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, yes. Okay, then let's do that. So she's always giving me the freedom to go and do what God has called me to do. And I'll be here when you get back. I'll hold down this front, right? So that has been a blessing to me. I know that's not every man's story, right? And for some men, I know a brother right now who he lives in a prison. He could barely do God's ministry. Every time he's going to do something, his wife makes him feel guilty for doing that. And so it's constantly a battle between his spouse and God. And I feel sorry for men that have to deal with that. I pray for them. It's a very difficult situation to be. I'm fortunate that's not my challenge. Lena's very gracious, right? Because she understands the bigger picture, right? And so for me, I never had an issue there. The bigger issues with my children. God willing, you'll have some, right? And I learned the painful lesson of being too busy to the point that they were suffering. So I was sitting in my office one day, and I seen a pink piece of paper in the trash can. And I don't write on pink paper, right? Like, I use yellow legal pads. So I'm like, who put this pink paper in my trash can? I'm like, where does pink paper come from in my trash can? So everything around me I keep clean. Like, I'm aesthetically, like, I'm a clean dude. I organize everything. Like, my car, my offices, everything is immaculate. It's just the way I am. Anal about that. I don't know. I got OCD in that area. So I noticed that piece of paper in the trash can, that pink one, because nobody was in this office but me. And I went and got that piece of paper out of the trash can, and I opened it up. And it was my daughter, Israel. And she wrote on there, she said, I love Jesus, and I love our church. And I love my dad, but I don't see him, though. And she put a big sad face with tears coming out the sad face.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? And my heart was devastated. Right? In that moment, I was so broken. Like, man, I was so busy doing work and not realizing my kids are suffering on the inside from my absence. So I had to make a pivot, right? And the pivot I made was that I'm gonna create a type of schedule in which my family time is always scheduled. They have days that belongs to them, and I don't let nothing encroach on those days. Not ministry, not meetings. I will walk out of a meeting. If my family calls me, I will walk out of a meeting. If my family needs me, I will call our team and say, I'm not coming in today. My family needs me, right? If I have to choose between my kid performing at high school or me going to a preaching engagement, I would turn down a preaching engagement to make sure I'm sitting in the audience to hear my kids sing. So that day I had to make a decision that some way, somehow, I want my kids to leave my home and not hate Jesus on the way out. Wow. Right? So I have built-in rhythms, family rhythms, right? In which this is their day, this is their time. And those are sacred to me. I will not answer the phone. I don't check emails. I'm not going to break that rhythm unless it's an emergency. But there's still a cost to pay every time I leave the door to hop on a plane to go somewhere. Yeah. They understand that their father has been called to itinerant ministry, so they give me grace.